Hey, this is Louis D. Fresh Cleaner 2 on a Monday afternoon from my office, my actual office, as I mentioned I would do. And what we're going to be talking about, we're going to be talking about plants. We're not going to be talking about fish. We're not going to be talking about colleges. I want to just talk about plants because I think it's all connected. What I want you to see is that research needs to be done for whatever it is that you do in your life. Remember, we're talking about college. We're talking about the common application these days. Make sure you get all your ducks in a row and get the information that you need. So this way you can fill out your common application properly. Same thing with the fish. You just don't pick a fish and, hey, I got a fish, you're gonna throw it in the fish tank. Hey. No, you have to know what you're doing. You need to know what kind of fish you have, what kind of water you have, and make sure that they're all together and that it works. And the same thing here. What I'm gonna show you, this is my office. My office, and like I said, I work from home. You saw my home office, the ecosystem that I showed you, the ecosphere that I showed you. But now I'm going to show you this and why I decided to do what I'm doing here in this office, because I think it's really important that you understand that you just can't have things. You have to make sure you do your research. So, first up, what I'm going to be showing you is a snake plant, and I'll show you that in a second. That it prefers indirect light, which is what I have. You saw the beginning of my video, the light, and I'm going to show you a little bit more in a second. Grows well in shady corners. I'm going to show you how shady it actually is, and then keep it in a warm spot with temperatures above 50 Fahrenheit. And that usually works out really well because in this office it's usually about 80 degrees because of the light that comes in here, and the air conditioner has a little bit harder time getting in here. So right now I have a light on, but I want to show you what it's like with the light off. And I'm going to really show you authentically what these plants go through most of the week, because I'm here, I'm not here, and all that. So let's check it out. So now I am showing you authentically how the office looks. You see you see that door is closed. You see that these blinds are the way they are. This is how it normally looks in here. This is it, right? This is the office. I'm doing a little 360 in my chair. So there is not much light in here. And so this is the snake plant that I referred to. Notice it is indeed, I'm gonna get the light off purposely, that it is a very shady corner. You see that's literally the light that it gets. That's it. There's no direct sunlight, there's none of that. And so I think it's really important that you notice that that's what it is. That's what we got. I turned the light back on, and I should put on my glasses so I can see what I'm doing here. It says do not water frequently, so that works out really well because you want to allow the soil to dry out between waterings. And in a pot it may flower occasionally, fragrant green-white flower clusters on tall spikes. If you look back on my social media, you will notice probably a few months now, I did talk about my snake plant that I have outside of my the house where I live, and I did show you an example of that. And being that the light is now on, I wanted to show you, see how dry, and I didn't water it now purposely. The soil is dry, and you will notice here, but yet notice how beautifully green these because they've been here for, I'd say, about 2-3 weeks now. And so I want you to see there. And I also am using clay pots. I mentioned clay pots in my social media on Thursday, the importance of clay pots, because it allows the plant to air out a little bit more, and allows the plant to actually not hold in the soil so much, because you really have to be careful about that, because you don't want to have root rot where you're watering it too much. So that's why I picked this particular plant, because I knew that it's going to grow well in very low light, and I'm not going to water it all the time. And you see how dry the soil is, and so that's why it's doing really well in this spot. Now, the next plant that I'm going to show you is called the ZZ plant. The ZZ plant prefers low indirect light, not suited for intense direct light, sunlight. As I showed you, it is kind of dark in this office. Water every 2 to 3 weeks. Allow the soil to dry out between waterings, and average home humidity can tolerate dry air. And the temperature preferred is between 65 and 85. That's perfect for this office. And it also soil that used well draining potting mix includes lava rocks to increase soil aeration. This plant really needs to dry out. And so that's why I have that little image there. And so it really can dry out. And I also showed there that you don't want it too cold, you don't want it too hot, because then that's going to cause some problems for you. And a really cool thing here about the ZZ plant is that you can see the soil is dry. You can see I'm using clay pots again for good aeration. Is I want you to see how it grows. It doesn't have to throw out leaves, it throws out stalks. See, those are new stalk growing there. And you notice here also that you see there's a new stalk right there. That's how it grows. And I really love it because you really don't need to do a thing to it. And so there is the ZZ plant. And again, the soil is dry, a clay pot for good aeration. That's my little supply of water for my plants. And so I really like this variation of my snake plant and the ZZ plant. And like I promised, I know my common application went for 17 minutes last time, so I want to keep it shorter. This is my last plant that I want to show you, and it's the last thing that we're doing. And again, remember, know your situation. I'm going to turn off the light again after I do this here, so I really want you to understand why I picked what I picked, and you get it. The Pathos, lovingly here in Miami, it's known as the Malanga. I kind of like that name better, but anyway, Pathos. Put it near a bright, indirect light, avoiding cold drafts. Check. Temperature and humidity above 50, between 60 and 80. Prefers high humidity and supplemental moisture, which I'll talk about in a second. The soil also needs to be well drained, which again, that's why I use the same soil. 1 to 2 inches wider than the root ball. It is a root ball. There's a ball, and this is a picture, but you see there inside that there will be a ball, and then it will kind of expand those roots, and they will kind of go around the whole inside of the pot. You have seen it. And the propagation, this is the easiest plant to get other plants from. All you have to do is cut a couple of stems, place in water, and then you're gonna let the roots grow, and then you're ready to put it in a pot. But then again, you see it right here, that's all you gotta do. Let the roots grow. You're gonna have little white roots. You may see them starting there. The second picture, I actually have one just like that at home, similar, right, just like that, and I never changed that, just left it there. Roots are incredibly long, and I've had it for about 2 years in water, so you can put them in water, and that's how easy they are. Again, I turned off the light so you could see how dark it really is here, how really dark it is. So, but yet you notice here, this is the brightest part of the office, and that's, as you saw in my PowerPoint, my little Canva slide, that you want the brightest area. So this is the brightest area for the indirect sunlight that it gets. And that's the key here, is to understand your plant, your fish, your college, that everything is not just a one-size-fits-all. And so that's exactly why I put this plant exactly right here, because that's the brightest place, and that's the place that's going to get the most light. Because these blinds are always like, I didn't touch them, I didn't do anything fancy. This is how it is, and that's why their darker areas are here, and that's why I use these particular plants for the darker area. But over here, this is the brighter area, and the supplemental water I put right here so that it can suck up, literally suck up the water, and it gets that extra moisture that it seeks. And so that's all I got, and I hope that you enjoyed the little video. I have to go because I have to go back to work, but this is Louis D. Fresh. Make it a great day.